meeting to order. Get a motion for the agenda. Any additions or deletions? First, if not, we get approval for the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the November 6, 2024 minutes. It's in your package.
There's one thing, last line of J,
Mm-hmm.
the very end of the sentence, just grammatical error.
The J, it says none.
Just have to recall it here.
And the J. Just spelling error, was it, Paul?
Yeah, it was a grammatical error.
Maybe the end of I.
It's I, is it the last sentence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the CAO explained to them that wanting to attach to the town of Digby's infrastructure, they need permits which they have asked to.
Yeah,
So
four.
it's four.
Four?
Yeah.
Okay, motion to accept that with the change.
So move.
Seconder.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Reports. So this is new this term. The mayor's report is in your package. So if you want me to explain it a little bit, I can. So the whole idea of the report is to have some internal communication between Tom and myself. So in this report, you'll see what I've done for the month. Names and addresses and all the personal stuff is in the tick over Tom. And then when it comes to council, the personal names and stuff will come out of it. So if you want to go through this one a little bit, November 2nd, I met with a gentleman with the yacht club who was interested in a boat launch. So it's a very inexpensive boat launch. They actually wanted some crushed dust down by the wharf now. So on the left-hand side of the wharf where the office is, they actually take their boats down there to launch them. And it's rough on the wheels, so they just need some gravel or some Class A or something to make it a little easier to take their trailers down on. So I met with Ed Chisholm. He was there on my way out, and so we're going to go through the process of writing a letter to the Port Authority, see if they're okay with us doing that, and see if they'll pay for it or we'll pay for it. So that's upcoming for 2025. November 11th, laser wreath on behalf of you guys in the town. November 15th, did a Christmas ad for Christmas Daddies and Eastlink. November 18th, Tom and I met with the Pines to talk about some development that they were thinking about doing. And that will go with our PAC meeting. So some of the information we got from that we'll take to our PAC meeting because it goes with the project we're doing there. November 19th, met with the Fundy Complex, issue over that he's having down there, but I respectfully told him due to it was under appeal with the URB that I couldn't discuss it with them. So it was only a 5-minute meeting there. November 20th, had a Zoom meeting with Atlantic Canada Cruise Ship Association. They're wanting us to promote cruise ships again in Digby, and that's through data. November 21st, met with a couple from 27 West Street with some concerns on their property. November 22nd, had a Zoom meeting with NSFM as I was on the conference committee for the conference this last past week. 22nd, received a call concerning a parking issue downtown from one of the businesses. So they contacted the bylaw enforcement on that one. 51 Montague Road. Yes, received signage. We met with Ed from Public Works back in the spring, and we were there as well. And we talked about signage for down the south end, and some beautification and some plants and stuff, but, that, grant didn't come until the fall, so we're looking at that next spring. Contacted Public Works for a phone number for Eastlink, because the school bus had knocked down some wires in front of the house, from a result from that NBC accident that was up there this past week. 25th was contacted by a bus driver to talk about, the X's that aren't painted on Victoria Street. So we emailed the CAO and law enforcement and Director of Public Works, and I think the RCMP have gotten in on that as well. 26th, met with Chris Larson and Linda Gregory in Halifax to discuss the rally. 26th to 29th, attended the NSFM conference in Halifax with Councillor Weir and Tom, and also attended Dr. Jane Newco, meet and greet hosted by the Community Navigator, Executive Committee meeting, Committee of the Whole, DB Water Commission, DB Recreation Commission. And with the incident that's not in here, on the 27th, I had an interview with the CBC Information Morning with regards to that. So that's my report.
I just want to chime in, Mr. Mayor, like I mentioned it to you, the boat launch, when I was with the Scotland Days Committee helping out during the wharf wreck, when we had the incident with the dive, and they had to bring a boat, a rescue boat from the lake to put in the water, and boy, they struggled over those rocks trying to get that boat.
That same spot?
Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, it's a very inexpensive way to have a boat launch. I didn't know they didn't do gasoline there anymore. So they take them out all summer long to take to a gas station, the bigger boats, fill them up. So
Can you shed any light on the cruise ship conversation that you had?
yeah.
So they looked at potentially having ships come partway in, or looking at the smaller ones, or?
We can do both.
Okay.
Back, I think about 10 years ago, we had a large ship with about 2,000 passengers on it, and every single one came to land, basically.
Okay.
So what they do is they use their lifeboats, because it's mandatory to test the lifeboats every now and then. So that's what we use. So we've had two large cruise ships, and probably about 6 smaller ones.
Okay.
That can go on the side, but this is part of Data's tourism thing that we're doing right now, and they want to hook up with the Cruise Ship Association. Years ago, Ed Reed and myself started the Cruise Ship Association here, and we've been to Miami twice, and that's how we get one of our cruise ships. We've gone down to Miami to trade show. So I just wanted to tap in on my history, so that's that one, yeah. So they'll be looking at getting a committee together. Ed Chisholm was on that call as well from the board.
Yeah.
So,
And although it's not directly related to your report, but you did mention a couple of the incidents, I would like to, I suppose, mention that the RCMP response to both the motor vehicle incident and the graffiti, they were very quick for both, because both happened right by the house. So it was impressive to see how quick they were there for the motor vehicle one. And also their attention to going out and talking to all the people that were affected for the graffiti related one was good. It was nice to see.
the response is very good. Being on the fire department for 25 years, you don't wait to see where you're going when a pager goes off, because if you wait to hear where you're going, you miss a truck. So that's how quick it is. So the response is good.
It's good to see his response to in their email, just about if a citizen had any concerns.
To get hold of it. And I emailed her today, so I didn't really want to go over and talk to her with her child there, so I'll wait to make an appointment with her and talk to her about that. So, all right. Any other questions on that? If not, we will move on to Chief Administrator's report.
essentially, November has been a very busy month. Um, Attended quite a few meetings, had quite a few appointments to meet with people. And also been busy at the office of the CAO with the post-election reporting and development agreements and answering other development-related inquiries, answering emails, meeting with council members and citizens. On the Mount Street upgrade project, at the time of writing the contract, is making very good progress. I believe at this point, the contractors are done. And so paving has been completed, sidewalks completed. There are some landscaping issues that need to be addressed, but they are basically will happen in the spring because we're doing that with our own forces, public works. So CAO committee with Valley Basin Kings Transit. I attended another meeting of the committee. Items discussed were funding model options and the governance model. The information that was shared and discussed at the meeting is class confidential, and therefore I cannot offer any details until the governance model and funding option has been approved. So basically, there's these discussions have not even gone to the King's Transit Board, so that's why they have to go through the King's Transit Board and the Valley Waste Board before they can go any further for approvals. So the EPR implementation and circular materials agreements. Nova Scotia is joining other provinces in adapting a new approach to recycling that will result in a more efficient process for curbside recycling and will enable a greener future for Nova Scotians. This new approach is called the Extended Producer Responsibility for Packaging, Paper Products, and Packaging-like Products, or EPR or PPP. It will shift responsibility for curbside recycling programs from municipalities to the producers of packaging and paper products. Under the new program, producers will have to meet recycling targets set over time, will encourage more eco-friendly packaging and reduce single-use plastics. This program will standardize recycling programs across Nova Scotia and reduce the amount of waste disposed in landfills and incentivize producers to reduce consumer packaging. EPR moves the physical and financial obligation of collecting, sorting, and processing curbside recyclables to the producers and away from municipal governments and taxpayers. The new EPR for PPP program is part of Nova Scotia's plan to reduce waste disposal rates and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Shifting the responsibility for recycling to producers will save Nova Scotia municipalities an estimated 20 to 25 million annually. The Blue Bag programs currently operated by municipalities will be assumed by the producer responsibility organization that will act on behalf of the various packaging producers. This means that municipalities will no longer be responsible for funding and operating the curbside recycling programs by December 1st, 2025. A meeting was held on Friday, November 15th with Circular Materials. I was unable to attend, but have received the information. Municipal compensation methodology and a summary of the timeline for the next 4 months were the focus of the meeting. On December 2nd, which is today, sample agreements available on Circular Materials website. December 20th, due date for municipal units questions and comments back to CM. January 17th, 2025, due date for response from CM back to municipal units. January 31st, 2025, due date for clear expression of intent to opt in or opt out. April 18th, 2025, due date for resolution from council approving agreements. In order to move forward, CM needs to know if municipal units want to opt in an agreement with them and continue with curbside collection of the PPP program materials, or opt out in the curbside collection of the PPP program materials to CM to look after. Before any of the municipal units can make that decision, there is a recognition of more information that is needed. The methodology used to determine the offer each of the WasteCheck member units could expect to receive is based on a general ledger expense approach. CM shared today that they don't have the resources to apply the methodology to each of the 6 municipal units in the region, so they are prepared to take 2 samples and use that as the basis for the benchmark for Region 7. There was some discussion around the current hauler contracts, renewals, expiration dates, extensions, and system disruptions between now and 2030 as the EPR system is fully implemented. The member units of WasteCheck in Yarmouth County Solid Waste Management Authority and the transfer station operators in Digby County all have a stake in getting the best possible numbers to CM for the calculation, and we need to do what is best for the town of Digby and our region. Regulations to address systemic hate, inequality, racism, and accessibility plans. Municipalities and villages will be the first public bodies required to develop plans to address systemic hate, inequality, and racism under groundbreaking provincial legislation. Following the recent approval of the regulations under the Dismantling Racism and Hate Act, the province is partnering with the Association of Municipal Administrators of Nova Scotia to help municipalities and villages develop equality and anti-racism plans. We know that there are problems we need to address within existing government policies and programs that appear neutral but have the effect of disadvantaging unrepresented and underserved groups. Justice Minister Barbara Adams, Minister responsible for the Office of Equality and Anti-Racism. The province cannot do this work alone. We need to work with municipalities and villages to ensure this work reaches all areas of the province. With provincial funding of $1.18 million, the association will provide dedicated resources and support over the next 4 years to assist municipalities and villages in developing and implementing their equity and anti-racism plans. municipalities and villages are also required to update their accessibility plans by April 1st, 2025, under the Accessibility Act. We will have the option to create one combined plan or to create two separate but interconnected plans. So, just to add to that, Leslie has attended one of the first workshops under that funding, and she brought back some great information from that. Good workshop. And it was basically, for all intents and purposes, it was free to us. There was no registration fee, and we also paid for the room night. It was over 2 days.
Good, thanks. Anyone have any questions for Tom?
Tom, the King's Transit,
Yeah.
the board that you're serving on now, will that be making decisions overall once it's all settled with your governance?
No, no. This is just this committee is the CEOs from all 9 units, from Digby, the town of Digby, district of Digby, Annapolis Royal, town of Middleton, Annapolis County, Kings County, Berwick, and Campbell, and this is the town, Wolfville, yeah. So they, because, you know,
Yeah.
they're hoping that all 9 municipalities will be in the formation of a new King's Transit Board. I think that's what they're, but, I don't know how realistic that is, because some of the numbers that, we have had or discussed, and some of the funding formulas, it's gonna be fairly expensive over time, more expensive than what it is now, but, I did ask whether, because there are people from King's Transit at this meeting as well, and so I asked whether, you know, it's one thing to pay more money, but if we want to expand, was there, were we able to expand? And they said that most likely they, you know, because ideally they want, the town of Digby, if we say, yes, we wanna be part of King's Transit, we will actually have a seat at the board. Right?
So we'll have a chance to bring our
Yeah.
ideas forward and
Yeah.
possibly get some changes.
Because they were, the people, that I talked to from King's Transit that were there were, well aware of your presentation that you made, so.
Okay.
So, yeah. And, you know, basically, they said that it did make sense in their mind, but it's just a matter of, you know, trying to see what the total cost and everything would be to do it. So, it's not it could be a doable thing. It's gonna, I mean, basically, it'll be down to the council to make the decision on whether we wanna be partners, or we just want fee for service. Right? And in my opinion, I think we would be better off to be partners and have a seat at the board than basically be service buyers and, basically be at the mercy of, another unit. Say, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
On the packaging and waste management stuff, that twofold, basically to go to manufacturers and have them reduce over packaging and get less materials we have to put in new bags.
Yeah, I think that's probably the goal,
Yeah.
because they're, right now, producers are paying so much, I can't remember, a cent or 2 cents per package to the fund, right?
Yeah.
And that's every single package that they put out, so that's where all the money is coming from. And, the thing is, this EPR has been in place in other provinces of Canada for some time. And the thing is that we, in the province of Nova Scotia, we have been paying into this fund, because it's included in the consumable price, just the same as, so they pay it and they charge it to the wholesalers, who in turn charges it to the retailers, who in turn charges it to the thing. It's a hidden cost, but it's all built into the price of every single item that you buy, right? So the biggest thing for us as municipal units at this point is to determine which is better for us, continuing to have control of our recycling program, or at least our curbside pickup, and continue with that, and just and get a check every 6 months or whatever, get reimbursed.
Could we ask our hauler, could we ask Greg, because I know at certain times of the year demand is higher or lower, what percentage of our cardboard is actually recycled? What percentage of the milk cartons are actually recycled? You know, sometimes it doesn't get recycled. Sometimes it goes from one building into the back of the truck and into a landfill. We actually ask Greg to see right now what those numbers are.
I don't know whether Greg's the appropriate person to ask, only because he just does the collection,
street, yeah.
right? And it goes to the transfer station.
Waste check.
And it's trucked to Kempville, to the actual, recycler. And that's where, they may be able to give numbers of the ratio, right? It all depends on, cardboard. It all depends on the type of the amount of contamination, really cardboard.
It depends on what demand there is too.
Yeah, there is it's based on markets as well. Now Greg does do a little recycling of cardboard of his own on site, and he may know how much, but he sells it to a recycler, right? He mails it and he ships it off to somebody to buy it. Most of that comes from his commercial pickups, those ones.
So we did a tour of the Kempville establishment on pilot, and they said that Greg was one of the best ones they had, yeah.
Great. Good to hear.
All right, any other questions?
Tom, where it says here that, where you're saying that, each waste check member is gonna get a different offer. Could that leave us kinda,
I guess,
if we get in too early, could that leave us at the mercy of everybody else not getting in and us carrying a bigger load?
no, because it's money coming to us, not the other way around.
Okay.
Right? So basically, the thing is, and I think that the reason that sort of worked that way is because, they said that they can't give all 6 of us separate prices, so they're only gonna do models for a couple. So, our concern, I talked with, the district, Digby, and our concern is our transfer station, right? And whether, we'll be able to continue to use our transfer station, because instead of us trucking it to Kempville, CM is responsible for doing the trucking from the transfer stations. So in Digby County, we have 2 transfer stations. Clare is one, and we have down there on the Upper Crossroad. And in Yarmouth County, we only have 1 transfer station for all of Yarmouth. So we're a little concerned that one of us, either Clay or us, may get left out, and we may have to, if it's Claire that we're gonna pick up from, that means we have to truck all of our, blue bags to Claire. Pick up.
Does that mean the public would have to go to Claire?
No,
We'd have
from
to-
the transfer,
we'd still-
our transfer station to Claire so that it can be picked up by CM and then.
And send,
Yeah.
and send the other way.
Kind of, I'm kind of disappointed there hasn't been more information earlier. And so, anyway, CM apparently has been hired by the province to do the province-wide EPR program. So the two options that we have is continuing doing it us and then giving us a check, or we just say, no, you do it, and then they come in. But that's gonna be, to me, at this point, unless they can, that's gonna be more, confusing for the residents, because it's obviously not gonna be probably the same day as election days are now. Could be a different day, and I'm not sure whether we want to go down that road or not. It'd be easier to stay the status quo and just, instead of paying the bills, we'll do a check. We'll still have to pay reg for, you can salvage for collection, but we'll get reimbursed from the EPR program.
Yeah, the current plan, the current program right now at the transfer station seems to work pretty good, because I've been out there many times, and
Yeah.
they got it all under control.
Originally, that transfer station was built for a recycling transfer station. And, cause all of our, regular waste, or clear bags now, were going to Claire. We were trucking them all to Claire, and that's where the, Queens County picked them up and went with them down to Queens landfill. But, we had some issues, and we had to, change things. We had to change, get our transfer station re-permitted, so to allow for us to store organic, or not organic, but regular garbage in. And that it was only permitted for, as a recycling facility.
Any other questions?
Now we'll move on to, the committee of the whole report, a couple items coming out of there. Recommendations, first one, a priority resolution for the grid grant application for Thomas Road, and holiday decorating contest for 325 for prizes. So, the priority resolution.
I'll make that resolution. Whereas new housing development and the provision of drinking water, waste, storm, water collection systems to foster each such development are high on council's list of priorities, and whereas council supports new residential unit development on unserviced vacant land by offering to service vacant land, and whereas council has identified the opening of West Street south of St. George Street as a project to accomplish this priority, and whereas funding provided these services cannot be accomplished without funding from other levels of government, be it therefore resolved, the town of Digby, therefore resolved, the town council of the town of Digby make it above mentioned project a priority in 2024 grid application for funding, and be it further resolved that the town of Digby council commits funding for its share of the project.
Secondary.
Secondary.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Oh, sorry, do you have a question?
No.
No, okay. Number two, holiday decorating contest for 325 for prizes.
I spoke on this last time, the decorating contest. First, second, and third place is a great idea, right, to bring more people, the holiday cheer.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
point of order. We have no motion on the floor.
Oh, no.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
make
motion.
sorry. motion to approve it?
Yes.
Seconder?
Second.
We had that approved last time.
Oh, you're good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Forget about new people, I apologize.
Yeah, right. I also got the stuff on that, just so you know, I thought it was mentioned.
Okay, we'll move on to DB arbitration reports.
I put the report in everyone's package. It was a learning curve for me to be brought up to speed on everything that's been going on. And it's something that wasn't in your pack because it happened after was the setting fires in the two washrooms at the splash pad that luckily there was no damage done. They went out, cleaned out, and reported to the RCMP, and they closed the washrooms earlier than expected. And it was noted too, I asked Sharon today if there was any follow-up from the RCMP. She said there hadn't been, but they did have a comment from the preschool who uses the playground, and they were very thankful that the washrooms were there and were able to use them too. So.
Any other questions for Deputy Mayor Dark? No. Okay, we'll move on to correspondence, which is 11, which is a letter from municipal units with concerns regarding mediation and treaty fishing rights and Elver's quota allocation. So Tom, can you talk about that bit?
And I guess basically the units of municipality of Shelburne, municipality of Barrington, and Lockport, town of Lockport, town of Clark's Harbor, and town of Shelburne have been writing back and forth, and we've been part of this so-called Ocean's 11 earlier when in the heat of the indigenous fishing, illegal fishing or whatever in the Bay of Fun or St. Mary's Bay. And they continued with it. They have different things, concerns in that, but they were just wanting to know whether we were interested in meeting again to pick up from where we left off as a group and just to keep applying some pressure to the federal government, especially DFO and that to basically just tell us to let them know that we're still here and we're not going to go away. So we historically the town has been supportive and been involved. We have a large lobster fishery in town, but it hasn't been really affected by what is going on down to the south of us. But it could happen to us too, very, very easily. And so just bringing that up to find out whether council is interested in continuing on or lighting the fire under that committee, which basically is made up of mayors, wardens, and the CAOs of the region. And collectively, there's one letter written on behalf of everybody, and everybody signs it, things like that.
So would you wish to continue on with that, or?
It was helpful last time we were involved because even though we weren't really directly involved, all of the reporters came to our work and did all of their sign-offs and stand-ups and everything else. It looked like we were in the middle of it.
I did attend one of those meetings, Ben, because he couldn't make it. It's not a rebel group, that's for sure. It's trying to get things going, right? So. All right, we don't need a motion for that, or?
Just another comment on that. Have we considered approaching the Bear First Nations to see if they would sit down to discuss what they believe would be a fair way forward for this, because if I recall correctly, during the first set of incidents that sort of occurred down the shore, they sent a letter into multiple media outlets. And while it did have, yes, we support our other First Nations communities, they did very clearly in their state that they didn't support how things were happening down here. That they have long been building a partnership with the local fishermen, with the town municipality, and they were disappointed in the way things were unfolding. From speaking to the folks in Bear River, I do believe that they probably be on side, but they want to do things in a sustainable and open and transparent way. And it might give a little bit more meaning to our federal elected officials if we had something also coming from the First Nations communities that are nearby to say that they want to make sure we do this the right way as well. And I believe that they'd probably be one of the best spots to approach with respect to that. Now, of course, I mean, not necessarily something you open a conversation with, but maybe something worth considering is to approach them and see if Chief Potter or any of the councillors would like to sit down and discuss it.
I think, didn't they discuss it with different bands?
I think they got some,
Yeah, I think they did that actually.
and I believe that former Mayor Cleveland had some conversations with First Nations, there in the band, concerning what was going on below, and that's basically what, the feedback that I got was that they, even though they're supportive of the people, were not supportive of the actions and things that were actually going on in the area. So, but certainly wouldn't hurt to reach out because hey, with them.
Yeah, and I know this one's more specific to the Alberta quota allocation, but I think with the fishing issues in general, that maybe a more collaborative approach with them could help, and it might encourage the Yarmouth municipality or town to work a little bit more closely with the Acadia First Nations in their area as well, because we need to try something a little bit different in order to get the federal government to actually remember that we exist, and that doing things their way and forcing them on people is not always the best, efficient, or the most peaceful way of doing it.
Good. Thanks. So we'll get in contact with them, Tom, and Tom will continue. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next one is Staff Sergeant. Doing a tour of the headquarters in Dartmouth. And a few years ago, police committee actually went up. So I was on that tour. If you do go, make sure you take Greg Thomas because he cracked a joke all the way up and all the way back. So we kept us very amused and entertained. It's very interesting. So if we get a chance to go, I suggest you go. It shows all the services that the RCMP do for Digby. The dive team, and the training center and everything. You get to go through the training center, and it's very interesting actually. So the drug squad and all that stuff, and so it's pretty cool. So I guess he's asking if we want to do that tour. We're organizing one now, so if you're interested, just get hold of Leslie maybe and confirm with the staff sergeant.
Maybe Leslie, if you could just confirm what date they're thinking of doing.
Just says that in there,
But yeah, don't miss out. It's see what we're getting for our money, that's for sure. All right, move on to new business. Administrative policy 2024-03 code of conduct. That draft is in your package. What do you need from us there, Tom?
So I guess basically to adopt this policy, which is basically, the exact policy, template, that was sent to us and recommended to us by the province. And, basically, is a policy, and this policy is the same policy, and that every municipal unit within the province of Nova Scotia, it will be adopting as mandatory for municipal units to adopt. And we have to let them, advise them before it's the 19th of December, that council has adopted it, so we had 60 days on the election date of October 19th, so.
So is this one they're doing the training on, like in January?
Yeah,
This is
there
it?
will be the, and there's the training modules and stuff that are coming up on in January.
This is an Yarmouth, I think.
Yeah, the in-person one would be in Yarmouth for us, and then there's the online one that is mandatory for every council member to take, so. But, anyway, this will repeal and replace the current policy, that the town has, which is policy number 2009-03, Code of Conduct for Elected Municipal Officials. Basically, this will repeal and replace that Code of Conduct.
So that's one we swore into.
Yeah. So basically, this will replace what you signed and swore to at the swearing in ceremony.
Everyone took a good look at it. So, get a motion to adopt the code of conduct.
I'll make a motion that we adopt administrative policy 2024-03, code of conduct for elected municipal officials, which will repeal, administrative policy 2009-03, code of conduct for elected municipal officials.
Seconder? Seconder. Any questions? All in favor?
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Have we discussed or thought of who we might have as an arbitrator or an investigator?
There's, I think there is a movement afoot, I guess, in our
To pull
region
resources?
to sort of sit down and talk about it, and maybe pool resources and just have somebody. Basically, you just have to have somebody on retainer of some sort, and who you can contact, and so. That's the only thing with this is that, investigator has to be, cannot be any council members, and it cannot be any staff of any municipality. So it's totally third party investigator that will do that. And I think, the way it works, once he makes the decision, the investigator makes the decision, they refer that or recommend that to council. Council has to do the action, whatever is right, whether it's a suspension or whether it's whatever. It could even be removal from office, right? So that's basically. Frankly, I hope you never have to use it.
No.
Right, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, the purple ribbons we're wearing tonight were given to us from Juniper House for 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. We do that every year for Juniper House. I3, Conway Workshop Association.
Okay, so this letter came, previous to the council, and then the October committee of the whole meeting, and I was, directed to meet with the executive director or, director, I guess, of Conway Workshop, and to review, the process and, find out a few things. So basically, I did meet with the director of Conway Workshop and directed at the October 21st, 2025, committee of the whole, um, and reviewed the request and the process with them. And I confirmation that they are a registered charity with Canada Revenue Agency. I also confirmed that the Digby Bargain Bin is a program of the Conway Workshop, but does not receive any grant money from either the federal government or provincial governments. The operations of the Digby Bargain Bin have to be paid for out of their earnings or income that comes out of the thing. So there's no subsidization from the province or feds whatsoever for this project. So they are fine. She said basically we're just hardly breaking even at, and we're looking for some relief. And so the 2004 assessment, that building was assessed for 165,100, and their tax bill, just their base taxes without the fire tax and that, just their base taxes was $6,934. So based on the reduction, if a reduction was given to them in 2025 and the assessments stayed the same, the residential taxes would be $31.53. So my recommendation is that a policy be drafted for council's consideration of the tax reduction policy to Conway Workshop for the bargain bin from the commercial rate to the residential rate. This would be effective on the base tax rate only and not on area rates. Actually, the area rates that we have are the same for commercial or, so there's no difference there. They're gonna have to pay that whether they're residential or commercial. And the tax reduction would not be effective until April 1st, 2025 for that fiscal year.
What do you like to do with this recommendation?
We've done this previously for other similar organizations and possibly Conway Workshop before. For
Basically, when it was Bethany Bargain Bin,
Yeah.
this is the exact same,
Okay.
same exemption that they had, but in the policy, and that is that when it ceases to, the current owner ceases to own it, and it doesn't, then it's dropped, you know, the reduction, is dropped off, and then it goes back to the regular commercial rate until such time that someone, you know, if it's still being used for, not-for-profit, in a charitable group, then you're eligible to ask for it. And basically, it's changing it from the commercial rate to the, residential rate. So basically, that's, the Bethany Garden Bin did have it before, and, that, and, do provide a good service for the residents of the town. And if they can get to where they're slightly, they're not for profit as well, so, they're not, but if they can help subsidize some of their other programs by money that they make, it's all going back into the whole common workshop program system. Because they want to expand some of the things, and, she mentioned that, coming soon is gonna be a kitchen cupboard type thing, so, yeah, it's good.
Is it good to ask Matt about this as well? What he thinks, money-wise?
Well, it's basically the same that the Bethlehem been had before, so they've done it at the commercial rate since they bought the building, right? So,
Okay.
we've gone up a little bit in taxes now, but it's just gonna go right back to where it was. So
Yeah.
I assume they tried to make it as much as they can. How long have they been there now? 3 years, 4 years? Yeah.
Okay, so we're still good.
Struggled through COVID, so I mean.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in this one.
So
But it's
there
probably
is a
worth-
reduction, but there's not a reduction, right?
It's worth Matt verifying their figures.
Yeah, but that's for sure, yeah.
See, that's where the policy comes in, that's why the recommendation is draft a
Draft
policy,
the policy.
when it comes to committee of the whole, the policy will be debated, and recommendations, so it's gonna be January at the earliest before council will be able to note on the policy, right?
So we're just looking for a motion to approve the policy draft.
Is it a motion or just direction?
Direction is fine, as long as it's in the minutes, captured in the minutes, direction is fine. It's just that we have, our resources are,
So would it be fair to add, like, to give direction to draft a policy for January's committee of the whole? That way it gives you a little more time to get completed. I say with it being December and there's lots of
the policy is basically a one page.
Yeah, but even still, we don't essentially need this policy until, next tax year, so, to be fair to you and
Yeah.
let you put your focus on things that are more
Yeah,
important
I
in the short
showed that
term.
she just, to be fair to her, and for her budgeting and stuff for the upcoming year, the sooner she knows, the better.
You can always give her the feedback that we have, decided that we'd like to get the policy written, and, we'll be discussing it, and that should still give them time for their budgeting to be able to do what they need to do.
Won't close them down, that's for sure. Okay. So go direction on that then. To move forward.
Right.
Peter and Nicole will lock it.
Okay, so, this one was a request that came in, this afternoon, and, well, they live at 45 Racket Road, and, are interested in an open section of Third Avenue from the railroad to the Racket Road, which, with the intention of consolidating, the city property with Third existing property. Basically, I haven't had a chance to do, a lot of research on this, obviously, but, I did, I included a map there so you can see where it is in relationship to their property, and on the west side of Third Avenue is the Imperial Oil property, so,
So are they looking at that 302 pit? 302 Indian 978? Is that what they're looking to get?
now, you see in the map,
Yeah.
the highlighted Third Avenue.
39?
Yeah.
Okay, so they want to, that,
They want that
Right.
piece, that 39 means it's 39 feet wide.
right,
And it's 176 feet long, right? And, so basically they want to be able to obtain that and consolidate it with their property, right?
It's just my opinion, I don't think I'd ever be in favor of selling the street, opened or not.
infrastructure under that.
Never get
Exactly.
Yeah,
Is there anything under that now, Tom, infrastructure wise, or?
I'm not sure that there is. And so, anyway, it's, the process, I mean, if we wanted to sell it, we'd have to,
So we looked at everything.
basically, because they're abutting
Abutting property.
property owner, and I know for a fact that I'm pretty sure that Imperial Oil doesn't want it, right?
Do we know who owns the smaller parcel that's up closer to the rail, the rail bed?
Imperial Oil owns those two little kids too.
They own those as well.
They own from the racket, those two kids in front of Irving Oil, they own that as well. They own from Racket Road back to the rail.
Okay. Would it be feasible to get, I guess this sort of map, but for the other side of the trail, going up towards Carlton? Because I think Councillor Sonny's comments would be kind of spot on, that he really hesitant to part with anything that potentially is a roadway, especially if there is the possibility that the other side of that trail may one day be developed, because depending on what's up there, I know on one side I think it's all properties already, but on the other side it would likely just be woodland for the most part, and even discuss like the feasibility of whether any of that would ever or could ever be developed. But we should look at that before. I mean, I'd like to look at that anyway before, addressing whether it was sell a small piece, because if it's not feasible to ever develop up in there, maybe you part with it, but otherwise I think that's part of the due diligence we should go through before we consider anything.
correct me if I'm wrong, but Third Avenue, not in reality, but it does exist on paper all the way to Prince William.
So what?
Third Avenue is, it's there.
Right.
All the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it goes to Carlton Street.
Yeah.
Carlton Street to the racket isn't open.
Right.
Never been open.
Yeah, it cuts through the ATV trail too, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but we're not gonna sell that piece.
No, can't sell that piece anyway.
I mean, but we're stuck there, that's all.
But it's a complete street if you wanted to open it with
That's right.
a big piece. And if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to ever go to Racket Road.
The other piece is obsolete then, basically.
Yeah, it seems moot. Why would you develop the street?
So is it fair, Tom, to
Doesn't
bring
matter.
this back to the?
Why we sell one piece and not the other would be not worth it.
I'm just,
So we'll bring this back to the committee of the whole, get some more information on it. Like Tom said, it just came in this afternoon, so. Pretty hard to make a decision when it comes in this afternoon.
basically, so. Okay, so most of the property that is on the other side of, on the north or south side of that is all owned by Urban Oil.
Right.
Imperial or?
On the other side, sorry, On the other side of the rail trail towards the hill, it's still
Yeah.
owned by Irving Oil?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I know they're doing a lot of testing over there all the time for contamination. Do they test the Third Avenue section of that also, or just the Irving Oil property?
Yeah, they've asked for permission to go there, because they have to determine whether it's any contamination that's on that property, they have to determine on whether it migrated to any, abutting properties. So they've been out in the Racket Road doing testing, and they've also been on Third Avenue, right? And I'm sure they've been at the, neighbors on the west side.
Yeah.
There too.
So if that property is contaminated, it's the responsibility of Irving Oil anyway.
Yeah, well, Irving, but the
Or not, sorry, or Imperial, I'm sorry.
Imperial Oil, yeah.
So it is Imperial that owns that, not Irving, right?
Imperial owns from rail to Racket.
Okay.
And Irving owns
I like it.
that. But theirs goes on both sides of, it goes from West Street to King Street. There's 4 or 5.
So they own right up to Charlie Walker's old house. Irving does, is that what you just said?
Yeah, the only property that they don't own between Third and West is 52 Carlton Street, owned by the Matthews.
Right, that's Charlie Walker's house, yeah.
And that drain is all downhill. And it's quite steep from Carlton going north.
See, there's a lot on King Street that backs onto that one, that backs onto Third Avenue.
Yeah, but that's already developed by the
Yes.
looks of it, right? That's, that's Martin Morgan.
I actually look at that property a lot because I walk there, and I like it if you pushed off on it. You could have a really nice place there, beside 52. But that's the street of Third Avenue Street, so I mean, you heard the.
Anyway, it's just, yeah, because Imperial, I know Imperial Oil, is going to sell that property to Irving Oil. That's the difference between them and Irving Oil. Irving Oil, they'll never sell anything.
This is probably why they want to buy it then. So nobody builds a street in.
Yeah.
But if there's a chance to be developed, they may need a street into that lot, that back lot,
100%.
the Imperial Oil lot.
Yeah, Imperial Oil's got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 kids altogether. And, so.
It's the reason why Imperial Oil, Irving's always had a mantra, never sell property, ever.
All right, any other questions for Tom? If not, we're gonna move on, and we'll put that to committee of the whole for more information.
Actually, if it's okay, there's one other thing I would like to add for new business. That was brought up to me by former councillor Turnbull at Christmas Daddies yesterday. Communities in Bloom. He had mentioned to me that he'd been discussing with a few different people, or a few people approached him about whether or not we'll take the recent updates to Mountain Street and use it as a potential opportunity to do something like not just put in trees and whatever else we may consider, but use some of it for flower beds. And someone had suggested we look at it potentially for putting a few rows of tulips along there. And it's something we could look at partnering with Communities in Bloom, seeing what color patterns they've got coming up. And right now everything's at a state where well, it'd be pretty easy to plant stuff like that along there. And you get something that is perennial. Yeah, I don't know my flower terms. Perennial.
Perennial's an annual.
Yeah, a perennial's an annual.
But an
It's,
annual thing's
annual's not a perennial, yeah. It's a good opportunity for us to make it so that's a street that looks absolutely fantastic year after year. And, yeah, maybe see what we can do in terms of a partnership with communities in Bloom for that.
There goes our artificial grass and artificial turf. He's gonna give it to us for free, remember?
That's true.
Yeah, so the landscaping is gonna be done in-house and it's not gonna start until spring, so, landscaping.
All right, so can we order 10,000 tulips and tell them to get to it?
Can I add to that? It's, maybe the community gardens would be, like to be involved in that as well, since they're right back door. The kids.
All right, we'll do that more formally maybe at the community hall.
Sure. Yeah, let's add it to the community, or the whole agenda and do that.
All right. Okay, that concludes the new business, and we're gonna move into camera. So thank you for coming out. So anyway, at the convention, the guy was there for artificial turf, right? So he had these strips like this, so he goes, well, I guess they give it to us for free to do Map Street all the way. Wouldn't have to mow it.
He did say he had a bunch of strips.
They
That he
did,
would
but
give us.
supposed to give it to us, yeah.
Did it look like grass though?
Oh, it was nice.
Vegas is all that way, everything's artificial turf.
Don't say that.
They're just saving water in Vegas, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know, but it's
So is Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost. It really wants to update and recover.
Shane's having trouble with his email,
But,
and I know why.
That's the second time now.
I know why.
Why?
Ask Tom.
Hey,
Tom.
reboot, something, postpone, please restart, or divide
My
that
fingers
cabinet for
weren't
the
on it,
moment.
but Tom's were.
Yeah.
That's okay, I'm still Pat Sonia.
How long did it
Pat's
take
on
to?
the-
All that long.
Mine's working perfectly.
I figured it, finished off.
Yeah.
Reboot.
Or you can wait till you get home.
You got it.
Take it home.
You're hooking it to your phone.
Yeah, at least I got a keyboard I can see.
You
I
have
got it all there
motion.
now. Oh, I left those stickers on that one, by the way.
All right, can we get a motion to go on the camera?